The following episode of The Kingdom of Isolation contains footage from the film being discussed. The footage is used solely for the purposes of education, commentary, and criticism under fair use. Please support the animators by watching this film on Disney Plus or home media where available. This episode also contains spoilers throughout.
Hello, my fellow Pixar fans, and welcome to the Kingdom of Isolation, where in times of trouble, why not celebrate the magic of Pixar? And today, oh boy, it's the pandemic era of Pixar, because we're looking at their first of their 2020 releases, Onward. Now it's time to go through the pandemic again. We've already done it with Disney. Now it's time for Pixar to do the same here. Genuinely, just a few weeks after this film came out, the world went into lockdown, and the day after that happened here in the UK, Disney Plus launched, which people have theorized was done intentionally. For all we know, that was always going to be the release date for Disney Plus in the UK. Then the 27th arrives, and the first episode of The Kingdom of Isolation was released. Here we are, episode 99. And next episode will be 100. And it will also be this year's Christmas special with Home Alone 2. Now back to Onward. Time to head on a magical adventure that took 6 years to make. The film was initially released during the rise of the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic in March 2020. When movie theaters were either closing or limiting capacity in an effort to limit the spread of the virus. Eventually, it got so severe that all movie theater chains were forced to close before the film could recoup its budget. As a result, Disney made the unprecedented move of making this film available for digital download only 2 weeks after its theatrical release, as it was now the only way people could view it. The movie was accompanied in theaters by Playdate with Destiny, a short cartoon featuring The Simpsons. At least it wasn't Frozen. I am not apologizing for that. They should know I am never apologizing for criticizing Frozen because of how overrated it is. This was also Pixar's first film without any involvement from John Lasseter following his departure as CEO of Disney's animation areas due to misconduct allegations made against him. An early draft of the movie focused on two young scientists trying to bring their father back to life piece by piece. He was trying to invent something that could allow someone to communicate with the dead, but he ended up dying instead. According to the Inside Pixar documentary series, 43 versions of the film were made. 26 of them are on Disney Plus, not including Disney Plus Hotstar. According to production designer Noah Klosek, filmmakers spent a lot of time defining what a modern fantasy setting might look like. While it is a fantasy movie, it's not about being a fantasy movie, he says. It's a story of these two brothers and the journey they go on, he says. Where we landed is that it's the fantastic and the familiar. It's the balance of those things. Filmmakers were inspired by the Los Angeles region, ultimately deciding to locate their fantasy suburb in a fictional location similar to the area. It's like Los Feliz of maybe 20 years ago, according to Klosek. We also looked at Frogtown near LA and the suburbs of Sacramento too. According to the director Dan Scanlon, who lost his father at a very young age, the film is inspired by the question he's always asked. Who was my father? Who was my father? The story is set in a world with no humans, elves, trolls, sprites, and anything that would be on the side of the van in the 1970s, on the side of a van in the 1970s, exist in this world, according to the director. In the film, we're going to tell the story of two teenage elf brothers whose father died when they were too young to remember him. But thanks to little magic still left in the world, the boys embark on a quest that will allow them a chance to spend one last magical day with their father. In many ways, it's a story about rebalancing, according to Dan. Usually, fantasy films take place long ago, in a very noble time, in a very beautiful land. There was something unique about seeing these characters in a world that's familiar to us. It's fun to imagine them riding skateboards, taking the bus, watching TV, or playing video games. It's something we haven't seen before. It's such juxtaposition watching an elf have to take his kid to soccer practice. I admire that. A modern twist on a fantasy tale. A fantasy tale in a modern setting. Didn't we get that with a kid who would be king? Based around the Arthurian legend? Oh, we'll get to that later. We'll get to the Arthurian legend later as well. Well, that's one way to grab someone's attention. Dramatic choir music. The music here is provided by Jeff and Michael Danner, last seen working together on The Good Dinosaur. You guys know where to go? Top right of your screens. Michael Danner was rather shaken when Dan Scanlon first pitched the idea of composing the score to him, as he too had lost his father when he was just 19 years old.
Long ago, the world was full of wonder.
Dramatic choir and now adventure music? I'm sold. Yeah, definitely sold. Plenty of fantasy through these sweeping shots, introducing us to the magical world we live in. Throughout this opening scene, you can definitely see a lot of inspiration taken from Dungeons and Dragons. In an email to Inverse, Wizards of the Coast confirmed it collaborated with Disney and Pixar over the use of D&D characters and story elements in Onward. The D&D team was super excited to meet with the writers and producers of Pixar's Onward, when Wizards of the Coast told Inverse. There was a lot of back and forth in the room discussing how best to portray D&D monsters like the Beholder and the gelatinous cube. We love that Onward is bringing fantasy to a whole new audience, and it's a treatment of how D&D storytelling is part of the mainstream culture now.
I call it the light bulb.
Soon enough, we see magic not being used as much, to the point where it's forgotten about altogether.
But I hope there's a little magic left in you.
We get introduced to the Lightfoot family. Julia Louis Dreyfus voices the mother, Laurel. Julia has a staggering 11 primetime Emmys to her name. 9 of them were from Veep, 6 of them for comedy lead actress, while the other 3 were for outstanding comedy series itself. That leaves 2 Emmys unaccounted for. 1 was for portraying Christine Campbell in The New Adventures of Old Christine, while the last Emmy was for Seinfeld, where she portrayed Elaine Benz. we have her two sons, who are the main characters of this adventure as well. The first of the sons is Ian, voiced by the current Spider-Man, Tom Holland. Tom has a BAFTA for being 2017's Rising Star, most likely due to being our favourite web slinger. His first ever role was Show in the UK English dub of Ariete for Studio Ghibli. And yes, there were 2 English dubs on that particular occasion. He would then go on to be Lucas in The Impossible, based on the events of the 2004 Boxing Day tsunami. He's also voiced Walter in Spies in Disguise and has also portrayed Nathan Drake in the Uncharted film just a couple of years ago. Today is Ian's 16th birthday. Scanlon says Ian is the everyman. He's a little introverted, like I am. He's a logical kid, practical. He understands the world he lives in and just wants to fit into that world, especially at age 16. He doesn't want to change the world. He'd rather go unnoticed. Now, according to character supervisor Jeremy Talbot, he says that the original fire-breathing dragons among the knights evolved into domesticated pets. Blazy is almost like a snake with legs and wings. She has a giant tongue and pants like a dog. Yes, Blazy is the family pet.
What?
You're wearing your dad's sweatshirt.
Oh, finally fits. Well, he's got to learn how to clean up his toys.
Doth my brother dare disrupt an active campaign?
That is Ian's brother, Barley, voiced by our favourite Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris Pratt. Tom and Chris have actually starred together in Infinity War and Endgame. Chris has also been on Parks and Recreations, has voiced Garfield this year at time of recording, Mario last year, Emmett Bukowski in the Lego Movie franchise. We've already mentioned Star-Lord in the MCU. He's been Owen Grady in the Jurassic World series, continuing the long-running Jurassic Park franchise. He's been in the Oscar winners Her and Zero Dark 30. Passenger. He was also in Passengers alongside Jennifer Lawrence, and Jennifer's Body alongside Amanda Seyfried and Megan Fox. Definitely smashing the latter.
FBI, open up!
Chris has also been in the remake of The Magnificent Seven alongside Oscar winner Denzel Washington, and starred as himself in the Gem and Holograms adaptation of the popular cartoon. I've already summarized what most think of that particular adaptation.
When was the last time you
Try it a
showered?
little harder. You actually can probably wiggle out of this. See, Mom knows how to let out her inner warrior.
And I like her already. Badass mom. Barley ends up in trouble thanks to a telling off by Officer Bronco, voiced by Mel Rodriguez, who's best known for Little Miss Sunshine, Panic Room, and The Watch. Now, Laurel's true gift is that she's amazing at mothering each son, and they're as different as they can be in the way they need to be mothered. According to producer Corey Ray, she can be tough and crazy like Barley and still be sensitive and subdued with Ian. Now that's how you give character depth.
Every time the city tries to tear down an old piece of rubble, I gotta drag my rear end out here and deal with you. I don't know what you're talking about.
By the way, Colt, that's his name, is dating Laurel. Colt is a cop, but he has a soft underbelly, says Ray. He's a stand-up guy. Barley has his passion for quests of yore, which is definitely an homage to D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. While having recorded most of their lines separately, Tom Holland and Chris Pratt did some of their recording sessions together, since, according to Dan Scanlon, they've worked together before and hung out together. Now, according to producer Corey Ray, Holland and Pratt improvised some of their lines while recording together. The casting of Tom Holland and Chris Pratt generated plenty of jokes about Marvel crossovers, and then Julia Louis-Dreyfus joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe as CIA Director Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. But her nature is very much the opposite of both Laurel and her son's Marvel counterparts. Head of story Kelsey Mann says Barley is way more focused on leveling up his character in Quests of Yore than he is in his own life. Barley's character may be able to slay any beast in the game, but in real life, he struggles to hold down a job.
Wait. By the laws of Yore, I must dub thee a man today. Kneel before me.
Oh, that's okay.
By the powers vested in me, written with the laws of thy kingdom of isolation, I shall. Ian stops at Burgershire, a clear reference to Burger King, uniform colour scheme and all. The Burgershire, a fast food restaurant, has a sign reading, now serving second breakfast. In the Lord of the Rings books and movies, second breakfast is a meal enjoyed by hobbits, who all live in the Shire. Oh man, I love this music. Inspired choice bringing the Danners in to write the music. This particular piece feels really reflective, with a sense of hope for the future. Ian writes up a checklist on how to be a new version of himself. The driving lesson doesn't go well. Ian tries to invite others to his birthday party that evening, which goes well despite its awkwardness. He plans on taking the bus until Barley shows up in his van named Guinevere, a reference to Arthurian legend. Guinevere was married to King Arthur. Scanlon says Barley built her Guinevere without a manual or really any automotive knowledge, and the end result reflects that. On January 27, 2020, a San Francisco tattoo artist named Sweet Cicely Danaher filed a lawsuit against Disney, Pixar, and Onward producer Corey Ray. In September 2018, Pixar rented a van owned by Danaher and decorated with a unicorn-themed mural for use in a one-day festival. She learned about the production of Onward in May 2019, and after seeing images of the van used by Ian and Barley Lightfoot in the film, came to believe that Pixar had stolen the design of her van in violation of her rental agreement with the company.
Aha! Is that the birthday boy I see? Behold, your chariot awaits.
A bit dramatic for an entrance. His music is probably turned up to 11 as well.
A bus? Nay, I will give you and your companions transport upon Guinevere.
It's easy to see why Pixar got these two to work together. Tom's awkwardness from his time as Peter Parker and Chris's energy are just a fun dynamic. Chris in particular is just so infectious with that fantasy character voice. It is time to go on a quest, my brother in arms. Ian then switches the story around, claiming his birthday party has been cancelled. Ian then scores off his checklist, not being able to get any of it done successfully, and plays a tape that simply says, Dad, on it.
I sure do wish I could spend the day with you sometime.
I know.
Well, there's so many things we could do. I bet it'd be really fun.
Well, let's find out.
Have I mentioned how beautiful the music is throughout this film? Elsewhere in the house,
Oh, my. Barley, keep your soldiers off my land or our kingdom will go to war!
Sorry, Mom.
Oh, this is the world's longest gap year.
Ian wants to learn more about his dad, who was in the same position as Ian was when he was his age. Laurel has a gift from Ian's dad. The gift turns out to be a magic staff, only to be given when both Ian and Barley were over 16. Ian finds a note that also has a visitation spell to allow his dad to see who he and Barley grew up to be. The only catch is it's only for 24 hours. To make the spell happen, they need to
Find the Phoenix Gem.
do that. Barney tries to cast a spell to no avail. Several attempts later, Ian has a go. Small issue though. Only half of their dad is summoned.
Ah, he's just legs!
That half specifically. Stanley says, we kept asking, how can we give these brothers a glimpse of dad without actually meeting him right away? That's where the idea of creating half a dad came from. It was like that message I got on tape from my dad. It's just a little taste of that person, and it makes you want more.
Yeah, that's Ian.
Hi, Dad.
This is one of my favorite modern Pixar scores. Because of moments like this, in order to cast a spell again, it has to be Ian that does it. First off,
Aha! We'll start at the place where all quests begin. The Manticore's Tavern. It's
to the Manticore's Cavern! No. To the Manticore's Tavern! Took me long enough to use that transition. Ian promises his dad that he will see him. Whatever it takes.
You hear that, Dad? We're going on a quest!
On the way to the tavern, Ian is trying to learn some magic. Oh, there's the Pizza Planet truck. Another check off the Pixar bingo card.
Maybe I could try something else, like arcane lightning?
Yeah, like a level 1 mage could bust out the hardest spell in the Enchanter's Guidebook. Maybe we'll stick with the easy ones.
Yeah, got a lot of leveling up to do, my friend. They arrive at the tavern, where we somehow get...
Happy, happy birthday, come join us on our quest to make your birthday party the very, very best.
a reference to the Emperor's New Groove. By the way, the Luxor Junior Ball... No, the Luxor Junior Land. The Pixar Ball is shown at the Manticore's Tavern, where Ian and Barley open the door to the birthday song. Above them, it's on a wall, placed like a trophy.
Madam, I request an audience with the Manticore.
But of course, my lord. Oh, Manticore!
The Manticore is just someone in a mascot suit. Yes, the tavern is now a family restaurant. At least the actual Manticore is working there. She's voiced by Oscar winner Octavia Spencer. She won her Oscar for her supporting role in The Help. One of my favorite roles she was in was when she was Junior Battle's mother in my favorite sports film, Coach Carter. She has a Disney credit under her belt thanks to Zootopia or Zootropolis, depending on your region, as Mrs. Otterton. She also has a couple of horror credits to her name with Ma, for which she was nominated for a Saturn Award. She also has Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 as Nurse Daniels and was also a bank worker in Drag Me to Hell, which has one of the most intense finishes I've seen in a horror movie. Thanks, Sam Raimi. Oh, Sam Raimi, I should say. Oh, talking of which, she was in the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie and also portrayed Kate in 7 Pounds, as well as being in Big Mama's House. The boys find the map they need. The only issue is...
No! My days of sending people on dangerous quests are over.
What?
That. Eventually, she snaps.
I'm living a lie! What have I become?
Oh no.
Yeah, she's definitely getting fired. But not before the tavern is literally fired, as well as the map.
Aloft, Elevor!
Consider Ian a level 2 mage now. Next stop, to Raven's Point! You better believe I'm using that as much as possible in this episode. Ian suggests the expressway while Barley insists on the path of peril. In the end, they use the expressway anyway. Laurel, meanwhile, conveniently missing the boys.
Manticore's Tavern, ahead on your right.
Hey.
Yeah, I wasn't leaving that out. She finds the Manticore, who gives us a fantasy movie cliche.
Oh, they went on a quest to find a Phoenix gem. But don't worry, don't worry. I told them about the map, I told them about the gem, I told them about the curse. I forgot to tell them about the curse!
What?
They always forget the curse. They always forget the curse. Laurel helps the Manticore's wound, but giving us this in the process.
So why don't you let me save her life before it costs you yours?
Okay!
All right, how do we help my boys?
Ooh, I'm gonna like you.
Onward! To get the boys. Speaking of, Guinevere's broken down.
I thought you said you fixed the van.
Relax. Guinevere is fine.
Well, the moment you say everything's fine, it's the exact opposite.
Ow! What? Splinter! Can we sand this thing down?
No, it's an ancient staff with magic in every glorious fiber. You can't sand it down.
All right.
Casting this could put him to level 3. Oh, he's a D&D character. Right? Ian tries casting the spell, only for the exact opposite of what he intended.
It worked! The can is huge!
You've just shrunk. They find a gas station, only to find a Pixie Bikers gang, where they get the first of Soul Easter eggs, is an elf version of Jamie Foxx's character Joe.
Did you just bump into me?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I didn't see
Do
you there.
it again and you'll see me in your nightmares!
Noted, do not mess with the pixies. Back with Laurel, Corey, who's their Manticore's name, tells her what needs to be done in terms of getting the Phoenix gem.
Well, okay, but you don't seem to have that on you.
I sold it. Got in a little tax trouble a few years back, but don't worry, I know just where to find it.
Slight issue. The boys managed to escape the pixies, allowing me to say roll credits.
Put it in all for Onward!
To victory! And also roll credits. Barley then tells Ian about the disguise spell.
Disguising yourself is a lie, so you must tell the truth to get by. As long as you don't tell a lie, the spell will be fine.
The spell was going well, but it doesn't take long to start going south, leading us to one for the LGBT family. Spectre's line about her girlfriend's daughter was improvised by Lena Waith, who asked if she could switch the line from husband to girlfriend. Waith is openly lesbian. Good on you, Lena. Lena has also been in Ready Player One back in 2018 and also has an Emmy to her name for outstanding writing for a comedy series with the episode Thanksgiving from Master of None.
I think I know what's going on here.
You do?
It's not easy being a new parent. My girlfriend's daughter got me pulling my hair out, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Officer Gore, on the other hand, who's Spectre's co-worker, is voiced by Ali Wong. Ali's got 2 Emmys as well. What is better than winning 1 Primetime Emmy? Winning 2 Primetime Emmys. Ali won her Emmys for Beef, one for the show itself, and the other for lead actress role. She's also the voice of Jill in Monsters at Work, Felony in Ralph Breaks the Internet, General Olivia in Lego Ninjago, and whoa, Bird Betty, Bam-a-lam, hey, Bird Betty, Bam-a-lam, is in the Angry Birds, Bam-a-lam, Angry Birds movie, Bam-a-lam, hey, Bird Betty, Bam-a-lam, whoa, Bird Betty, Bam-a-lam. No. Spectre finds something sus about the footprints on the ground. Meanwhile, back in van, Barley is
absolutely livid
at Ian for messing up. Then we get this.
What is he doing?
I think he can feel the vibrations of the music, and he's dancing.
Eventually, Ian agrees to take the path of peril. And the license plate falls off Guinevere.
Meanwhile, thousands of miles away,
Laurel and Corey get to the pawn shop where Corey's sword lies.
If we don't leave here with the sword, your boys are doomed.
They get the sword back. Colt spots the plate and heads down the path of peril to catch up to the boys. The boys continue down the path with some very rousing adventure music in the background, eventually leading to a chasm with a drawbridge on the other side. First attempt at the truss bridge doesn't go well. The second attempt almost ends in disaster, but at least Ian makes it and lowers the bridge.
I needed that rope.
Oh, but did you?
Yeah, he's kind of got you on that one. They find Raven's Point, or so they think. As it turns out, it's stone raven statues literally pointing where they need to go. Among the locations the brothers encounter on their quest is an old drawbridge which marks a pivotal point in their journey. Now, this scene is really the moment when we move from the familiar into the full fantasy world, according to Klosek. Artists placed the rising sun and soft clouds in the sky on one side of an expansive bottomless pit. Imposing mountains and dark clouds can be seen on the other four, big and foreboding. Ian is charged with pulling off his biggest spell yet to cross the massive crevice with nothing but his own faith beneath his feet. It comes at a crucial point in the film, according to Corey Ray. Ian is put to the test, not only to face his fears. Let me face my fears. Summon courage. He's not sure he has, and step out over a bottomless pit, but to trust his brother like never before. It's a terrifying scene to watch, especially if you're afraid of heights, and honestly, even if you're not. Oh boy, I've had moments where I've just been like vertigo. Yeah, I don't want to race. Wait, hang on. What did I just say? Oh, granted, it is nearly 4:30. Sometimes what I say makes no sense. Cole catches up to the boys until...
What are you doing?
I don't know.
That's the sound of the police! That's the sound of the beast! Run away, Dan!
GTA 5 Star Wanted level! Eventually, they reach the end of the road. Ian tries to cast Arcane Lightning to no avail before accepting he isn't seeing his dad. Barley makes a very noble sacrifice, releasing Guinevere to block the cops, all while he plays one last piece of music. Rise to Valhalla!
What are you doing?
Letting Guinevere go. To my favorite piece from this film. The moment the tire punches, leading to the horse gallop. Such a great piece of sound design. As well as the parking tickets symbolizing the wings. Barley suits Guinevere for the last time, successfully stopping the cops. Pixar made us cry over a van. The incredible symbolism mirroring the Arthurian legend of Guinevere sacrificing herself on her noble steed.
Barley.
She was just a beat-up old van.
That old van was your noble steed. The rest of this quest is completed on foot. Ian's getting better at casting spells. Let's put him at level 5. High enough for a one-shot every week. Back with Laurel.
How do you feel about exercising those wings?
That's how they'll catch the boys. Barley then confesses to Ian that a fourth memory wasn't his favorite because of being hooked up to tubes, leaving him scared and not wanting to go in to say his final goodbyes to his father. Reminds... Oh, my word. Oh, boy, this reminds me of a time where I couldn't stay right until the end. when my granddad was basically on his deathbed at that point. Hard to believe that come January 4th, it will be 9 years. 9 years since my granddad passed away. I still miss him every day.
That's when I decided I was never going to be scared ever again.
Ian and Barley make it to the final gauntlet, but they don't have much time left. Less than 3 hours. Make it through just. Next, they're in a room filling with water very quickly. They make it out again, just. Only to be back at the high school. Right back where they started.
And now you've screwed up my chance to have the one thing I never had.
Ouch. Ian reflects on the journey and checks off his checklist, all while some beautiful reflective music is playing. Anyone else getting emotional right now? As it turns out, the checklist was the memories he's made with Barley. Simply incredible. Ian rushes back to Barley, who's found the last Phoenix gem, and the final battle is about to begin. Anyone else get Skyrim vibes from this?
Mom?
Deus Ex Manticore. Corey is taken down, leading to this badass moment from Laurel.
I am a mighty warrior.
Ian completes the spell, allowing his dad to be fully visible. Ian fights the final boss while Laurel tries to get the sword back, and Barley gets to say goodbye to his dad. Ian has a splinter after the staff he originally had falls into the water. And he still manages to cast Arcane Lightning. Laurel tosses Ian the sword, who uses it to take down the dragon, saving the day. Let's make him a level 10 mage. He has to see Barley say goodbye to their dad, embracing for the final time before the sun sets below the horizon, and their dad just disappears. The music here as well is just incredible. The other subtle Easter egg, by the way, is the Trinity knot symbol, referring to the connection between mind, body, and soul.
He's very proud of the person you grew up to be.
Well, I owe an awful lot of that to you.
One final parting gift that Barley gives from Dad. Yep. That's true. Definitely opening up waterworks. I really wish I had a sibling relationship like this. Or at the very least, a brother. Fast forward, and Ian is giving a lesson on magic.
I'm meeting the Manticore for a night out.
We got a 113 in progress.
We have an A113 Pixar bingo card complete.
Yes! Yes!
We get a beautiful song over the end credits. Brandy Carlisle with Carry Me With You. A full week before the film's release. Much more manageable there. 16 pages. And we have another 2 pages for the scores, giving us a grand total of 18. Much more manageable than the 33 I had for the Toy Story 4 episode. Anyway, score time. Story, I'm giving a 9. It's a fun fantasy story that delivers and has plenty of family elements thrown into add some stakes to the quest. The characters, they get a 10. Great dynamic between Tom and Chris. Corey is awesome in her role, and Laurel is an awesome mother to the boys. Even Guinevere, in her final moments, felt like a true noble steed. The visuals also get a 10. Absolutely love the visuals throughout for what is a great quest. The soundtrack gets an 11. It's a faultless soundtrack throughout. Massive kudos to the Danners for such an amazing soundtrack. And now, the legacy. And there's not much I can do about this because the scores are going to be affected thanks to the pandemic, unfortunately. This is where things get interesting due to the pandemic as well. Theatres had to close 2 weeks after the release due to the LGBT portrayal of Spectre. This film was banned or censored in the Middle East because it being homosexual is criminalized. Why? It's 2024, not 1824. In Poland, Hungary, and of course, Soviet Mother Russia, film censors you. A budget of nearly between $175 and $200 million, and only 142 at the box office. Despite this, it had huge success on VOD and Disney+. 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, with consensus reading, it may suffer in comparison to Pixar's classics, but Onward makes effective use of the studio's formula and stands on its own merits as a funny, heartwarming, dazzlingly animated adventure. Accolades-wise, no major awards, but it did receive nominations for 7 Annies, a Golden Globe, a Grammy, 2 Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, and an Oscar nod, losing out in the Best Animated Film to Soul. So overall, the score is a very respectable, I would say so myself, a very respectable 94%. So that puts it right in the middle of the board. It puts you right in between Finding Dory and the original Toy Story. Overall, it's a beautiful film with a great adventure element thrown in with the family dynamic. Absolutely. I would recommend this first one to anyone if you haven't seen the club yet. What the hell did I just say? If you haven't seen the film yet, heck, I am starting to go a little bit cuckoo, crazy, go-go bananas.
What did he say?
But yeah, again, I would still absolutely recommend this one if you haven't seen it yet. And that is it for this episode of The Kingdom of Isolation, where we looked at Onward. And if you enjoyed this episode, hit the thumbs up. And if you want to be part of the Kingdom of Isolation yourself, you can hit the subscribe button down at the bottom, click the bell, turn on notifications so you don't miss when an episode goes live on this channel. Episode 100, the Christmas special for Home Alone 2, and I am going to have a guest on board for that episode. But until then, see you guys next time in the Kingdom of Isolation. The year was 2020. The world was in lockdown. And the idea of a passionate Disney fan was born. The goal of this side project at the time was just to get through lockdown and since then it has become a cornerstone known as the Kingdom of Isolation. Since its creation, many people have joined me on this journey, discussing these films, sharing their memories, and learning along the way how these films were made. 99 times before I have welcomed people to this place. And for a while, a milestone I didn't think was going to be achievable. But that milestone has now become a reality. And so, for the 100th time, I say to you, welcome to the Kingdom of Isolation.